Danielle DeMarco. She's our real estate mortgage investment expert. She's going to give a little presentation, a little market update on where rates are, how the mortgage market's going. So Danielle, if you want to just jump in.
Yeah, I'm right here. Thanks for the intro, you guys.
Okay.
I have to agree. I like what you guys are saying. I feel like it's nice to have that little bit of added extra time to kind of evaluate things and you're not competing against 20 people and rushing. So we're seeing on our end a lot, still a lot of movement, actually. It's just that we're not necessarily seeing a ton of multiple offers on every single home right now, which is kind of nice to see. People are a little bit more calm, relaxed coming into their financing and feeling a little less pressure. Um, okay, so tonight's topic is goal setting. So I'm going to kind of touch base on that from a financing perspective. So we always are having to revisit goals with investor clients because we always want to be keeping track and tabs on where we're at, where do we want to be, are we meeting those goals, and what do we need to do to get there? So from a mortgage broker perspective, one of those things, and Tim and Azad and Carly are going to get into this a lot more detail, so I'm just kind of going high level here. But your short-term versus your long-term investment goals. So something we always have a conversation about, how many properties are you ultimately wanting to accumulate? And what does that timeline look like? We need to know that because when we're looking at financing, we're looking to see, okay, are we trying to get, two additional properties or four additional properties? If we want two, okay, we have more options when it comes to lenders, down payment, et cetera. If we want four, we need to really come up with a plan of attack. What lenders are we going to, in what order and why, so that we can make sure we achieve those goals. So having those conversations is going to be important. Something else that Tim and Azad will talk to you about is cash flows. So, we're looking and seeing, okay, where are mortgage rates at? What are your payments going to look like? Therefore, on prices A, B, and C, different price points, what are your mortgage payments going to be? So then how does that affect your cash flow? So what price range should you be looking in? And now is a great time, like Tim and Azad are saying, when the market shifts and changes and you're actively wanting to house hunt, it's a good time to reevaluate and touch base with your broker and say, hey, where are we at payments wise now at these different price points? Because you might be able to shift into a different price point as we see prices stabilize. So something else to look at. Your saving strategy. So Tim and Azad mentioned it already as well. Down payment. When we're purchasing and investing on the broker side of things, we need to be wondering, okay, where is our down payment coming from? Are we purchasing a second home with less than 20% down? Are we purchasing a rental property and do we need 20%? If we do, where is that coming from? Should we be setting up some HELOCs on existing properties? Do you have investments that are maybe underperforming? So, part of that is reaching out to your financial investment people. What is your rate of return on your investments? Would they be better suited going into real estate and being taken out of that realm of investing? So things like that, we're gonna look at and see, okay, where do you hold your assets and how can we structure and shift that to maybe accumulate more properties if that's your goal. Financing capacity. So this is a big one, and this is something that we specialize in, which is how many properties can you qualify for? What do we need to do to get there? So are we having any raises coming up in the next couple of years? Is there the possibility of, adding somebody else to the application? Do we have anybody, friends or family that want to do investing that we can add on? Should we be looking at maybe a change in employment and how you're employed? Things like that. As a broker, we're always looking to kind of see, okay, if we make these little tweaks, how does that affect your ability to plan going forward? So it's a really good check and balance system. If you've got a raise coming up that in January you're going to get a raise, or in January you're going to get a bonus, that's something to share with your mortgage broker so that we can factor that in and kind of say, okay, well, that helps us save faster, or that helps us qualify for more. Maybe we wait till January to purchase instead of December. So things like that. Credit. That's another big one. From a mortgage broker perspective, we want to make sure that you are tracking your credit. So there's a lot of, we hear it, identity theft, things like that out there. So it's really important that you're monitoring your credit score. And if you ever have any questions about your credit, or if something pops up or your score is different than you're expecting it to be, reach out. happy to always take a look, review your credit with you, and make sure we're on track so that we can meet the requirements of the lenders to keep accumulating those properties as well. HELOCs, kind of touched on that, using those strategically. You know, a HELOC is a word that gets thrown around a lot, but a lot of lenders look at HELOCs differently and qualify them differently. Sometimes a mortgage might be better than a HELOC when it comes to accessing equity down the road. So we'll talk about things like that, reevaluate properties, have your property values come up since you originally did your mortgage. Is there equity there that we should be looking at accessing, and how should we structure that? You know, so that you can, again, come up with some down payments. And then renovations. This is a great thing to chat with Tim and Azad about. If you own a property and you're thinking of legalizing the suite, when is a good time to do that? Or if you own a property and you want to do some renos and we want to force some appreciation so we can refinance and access some of that equity as well. That's something we also want to look at. And then kind of staying organized with documents and talking with your accountant or with your accountant. So that's just as important. When we're doing financing, there's nothing worse than having to run around and find all your paperwork. So taking stock every 6 months of where's all your recent documents, your tax returns, your property tax statements. For any of you that already own rental properties, when you're sending it into your accountant, do you have all of your tax statements, your assessments, your mortgage statements, your interest, your amortization schedules, so that they can properly account for it and make sure that you're getting those write-offs and those proper deductions on your tax returns? And then knowing your investor profile and how lenders see you. This is a big one. Lots of people don't realize you might have 2 jobs, but can we use both of the jobs? You might be, you know, full-time, but maybe your hours aren't guaranteed. So how are you being viewed by the lenders when we're trying to do real estate investing? And so doing an overall look at your employment situation, what you're claiming if you're self-employed. Are you claiming your rental income? A lot of lenders are moving towards wanting to see rental income being claimed on tax returns if they're going to use that rental income. So as we see these policies shift with lenders as well, these are things that as homeowners and investors, you want to be touching base on to kind of see, okay, am I claiming things properly? Should I be making any changes to make sure that I'm still on track to qualify? And just reviewing your progress, which is what Tim and Azad are doing with you guys and Carly doing with you guys today. Just going through all of that, reviewing everything annually. And part of that, reaching out to your real estate agents, but also your mortgage brokers, your accountants, all of that stuff. So that's kind of high level from the financing side of things, what we want to be looking at and what we should be looking at. So that's it for me.
Excellent. Thanks, Danielle. Okay, so if anybody wants to get a hold of Danielle, I'll see if her contact info is right here. Yeah, her contact info is there on the screen if it shares. Yeah, okay, it's shared. Take down her number, her email address, contact her, and see if she can help you with your goals and get to meet those goals this year.
Yeah, that's the first step always. People ask us, how do you get started? Call Danielle, work out where you're at. And if you can't get a mortgage, there's other avenues to go down. So don't worry about that.
Yeah.